So, hello everyone, welcome back to Awakening Through A Course in Miracles. And at this channel, I just teach the workbook lessons of A Course in Miracles. I know many of us are practicing this, right? And we've noticed that the practice of these lessons brings about in us an entirely new, different way of thinking. And that different way of thinking has brought about in many of us a sense of peace, a sense of happiness, a sense of rest, right? Which the world wasn't able to give us. A Course in Miracles is such a beautiful book. It's such a beautiful teaching, right? And it's literally an assertion of light into the darkness of space time. And its goal is the peace of God, right? To bring about the peace of God in you, which is your natural inheritance. It's what was given to you in your creation. It's not something you can lose, except you can think you'll lose it, right? Fundamentally, that is still what you are. But having denied your own identity, right? Having denied my own identity, I seem to have lost the peace of God because now I'm identifying with my own self identity, which is not what I am in truth. Right? Today's lesson, entitled Light and Joy and Peace Abide in Me, handles that so beautifully. Right? First, he says, listen, you do not think of yourself as that. Right? You think as yourself as the home of evil. Right? You think as yourself as this bad person, or you have these ideas about yourself that are not particularly nice. Right? And then it says, however, this is not what you are. Right? He says, these are beliefs so firmly fixed that it is difficult to help you see that they're based on nothing. Right? And today we question this, not from the point of view of what you think, but from a very different reference point, from which such idle thoughts are meaningless. Right? And this, of course, goes back to lesson number 1, right? Nothing I see means anything, right? I've given everything I see all the meaning that it has for me. These thoughts do not mean anything, right? It's that undoing of the way you think and see now that needs to occur first before anything else can happen. That's why he says, well, this workbook is divided up in 2 parts, right? The first is the undoing of the way you see now, and the second part is the acceptance of some true ideas. This is an amazing lesson, right? It says, the self you made is not the Son of God. The self you made, right? What you think you are, your self identity, right? You've given yourself a name, you've assigned yourself with certain attributes, and this is what you think you are. That's not the Son of God. Therefore, this self does not exist at all. Your self-concept of yourself, right? My self-concept of myself does not exist at all. Just let that sink in for a moment. The reason sometimes why I pause for a moment that these lessons are so loaded, right? Every sentence is loaded. You let that sink in and it does something to the way you think, right? You let it find a place among your thoughts by accepting it, and it changes the way you think, right? And anything it seems to do and think means nothing. It is neither good nor bad, it is unreal and nothing more than that, right? So if you think about yourself, oh, my self-identity is bad or my self-identity is good, maybe you think, right? None of that. It's not real. It's unreal. What you think you are does not exist, right? Self-concept versus self, right? Your self-concept of yourself is meaningless because it doesn't exist. What does not exist is not good, it's not bad, just meaningless. Amazing. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Over and over, this must be repeated until it is accepted. It is true, right? It is true, right? You've been created whole and perfect by God, right? Period, right? That's the end of story, right? There's no discussion possible about that. So your belief about yourself, right, is then kind of in conflict with how God created you, right? But only one of them is true, right? Either you are true about what you think you are, or God is right about what he thinks you are, how he knows you are. See, don't you love that? Like, we have all these courses. If you, you know, go online, you have all these courses in self improvement. But the self you're trying to improve is not real, right? There's nothing to improve. You are already that. What you're trying to become through maybe self improvement, right? You, you are already that. You are that in truth. And you are way more than that in truth, as you can't even imagine that, right? It's an experience. What you are cannot be taught. However, you can be shown what you are, well, because you are that, right? By withdrawing, if you will, your beliefs about yourself. And your beliefs about yourself and the world are one. They're not different, right? What you believe about the world or what you believe about your brother is the same as what you believe about yourself, right? And it's a belief system to be undone. But that's where the rubber meets the road, isn't it? Because as a human being, you believe you are your belief system, right? It's how you define yourself. I am so and I believe this and this, and I'm got these and these attributes, and I'm very proud of them. You defend it, right? You defend your belief system at all times. Someone says something, you're going to argue with him because you think you're true and he isn't, or whatever, right? No, no, no. Maybe you're a teacher, and you think you're a good teacher, and no. You got all these ideas about yourself, and none of them are so. They're all completely meaningless, right? Or you're, I don't know, whatever you think you are, whatever you have defined, however you've defined yourself. It's kind of like how you were born into this world. You didn't come with these ideas, right? But you taught yourself these ideas over time, right? But a baby being born in this world doesn't come with any of those beliefs. Love it, love it. Now listen to this. Key line in A Course in Miracles. In this lesson, right? Salvation requires the acceptance of but one thought. You are as God created you, not what you made of yourself. You are as God created you. That's one of the lessons that's the only lesson that occurs 3 times in our workbook. I am as God created me. It is a reason it occurs 3 times, because it's the only thought that needs to be accepted in A Course in Miracles. You didn't make yourself. God created you, and he created you whole and perfect. You somehow have taught yourself that you are not that. And therefore, right, I taught myself I'm this miserable parody of life, right? With this and this name, and this and this history and thoughts and ideas and memories. But none of it is so, right? I am as God created me. It has not changed. It will never change. My true nature will never change, right? Whatever evil you may think you did, you are as God created you. Whatever mistakes you made, the truth about you is unchanged. Creation is eternal and unalterable. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. You are and will forever be exactly as you were created. What else can I say? And maybe you go like, well, that's not how I experience myself. Well, I know that, but right? That's not a point to stop, right? That's where it's a good admission. But then maybe my answer would be, then there's work to be done, right? And how about the lesson of the day, right? Light and peace and joy abide in me. Well, that's not how I feel about myself. I don't particularly feel very joyful today. Well, okay, that's a good admission. But maybe let's try them with the fact that, wait a minute, if light and peace and joy were given to me in my inheritance, I can change my mind about myself. Maybe I don't feel joyful today. Maybe you don't feel very happy today. But you go like, wait, then I'm wrong about myself. Somewhere I've made a wrong decision. Because remember, none of this is so, right? Whatever you're struggling with, whatever happens to you today, whatever you're being confronted with, remember that none of this is so, right? What's the lesson? All things are lessons God would have me learn, right? Everything is a lesson. You're here to learn. You're in space time. Everything is a lesson. What are you learning? I am as God created me. You're learning to remember who you are. What you are, that memory hasn't left your mind. Why? Because ideas leave not their source. It's impossible that it would leave your mind. Right? But these are the ideas, right? You're learning to think, and many of you have acknowledged that and are aware of that. You're learning to think systematically along a completely different line, right? That is the opposite of the thinking of the world. And you're so accustomed, if you will, to that thinking of the world, but it's your thinking, right? That for a moment that may seem hard. It's not hard. This new thought system is not hard, but it's different, right? You're learning to think in a way that's the opposite of the way you're thinking now, right? The thinking of the world. But rest assured that once your mind is dislodged from its fixed position, right? Its fixed position being the thinking of the world, if you will, right? Once it's dislodged from that and you start to rely on that new light reference, on that new way of thinking, right? Light and joy and peace will be indeed your reward, right? Because that's, well, you can call it salvation, you can call it enlightenment, you can call it whatever you want, but that's a fact, right? Because you freed up your mind from self-imposed bondage, if you will, right? Human thinking, the thinking of the world, is bondage. It's slavery. It's you enslave yourself with your thoughts of misery, condemnation, right? Struggle. It's all thought because the universe is thought, right? You are mind in mind and only mind. You're not a body, correct? So it's that freedom of conceptual thoughts, of bondage, that will set your mind free. And when that happens, well, watch out. There's a whole new universe waiting for you that opens up, right? Because you're doing it to yourself, right? Like the Course in Miracles, right? Key idea of A Course in Miracles, I'm doing this to myself. Nothing is being done to me. It's impossible that I'm unjustly treated. What? One of the core thinking of a human being, right? As me as a human being as well, I'm treated unjustly. I'm a victim, right? No, I'm doing this to myself. I'm the cause of this. Notice how nice it is when you take causality back. I am doing this to myself. Nothing is being done to me. If you accept that for a moment, see what happens. Because you free yourself up in your mind. You are no longer a victim, right? You're no longer a victim of this world. You've invented the world. You're the cause of it. That seems for a moment like very hard, but it is actually the thing that's going to free you up. It's amazing. Same with sickness. You're not a victim of whatever sickness ails you. You're the cause of it. Now, when you're not ready to accept that, that might seem as an insult. Do you mean that I'm the cause of the cancer? That just, yeah. But as he so beautifully says in the workbook, mention it by its name. Don't just say sickness, say cancer, or say, well, whatever is ailing you, right? But yeah, it's a defense. It's a defense against the truth, as he so beautifully says. It's a thought system, right? So I love it. Listen, I think many of us have become real passionate about this because we feel what it does to us when we accept that shift in mind, that shift in thinking. And we become really happy. And we're no longer tolerant of compromising. Because salvation is no compromise. Because we recognize that starting to think in this one way that's being set out by the Course in Miracles sets me free. Well, if that's the case, well, you get really happy about it, right? And when you catch yourself in a thought that, oh, right, something's being done to me here, or an unhappy thought, or you feel miserable for a moment, go, no, that's not it. Right? I can correct that. No, 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 no. No one's doing anything to me. I'm doing this to myself. I love it. It takes a little practice. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with practice. But that's all there's to it. Right? Anyway. Great lesson for today. Light and peace and joy abide in me. Right? It doesn't say that maybe you're experiencing that now, but remember, it's in you. It's available to you. And when that happens, when suddenly that light just lights up your mind and the love envelops you, that's all around you, and you can't contain yourself because love cannot be contained. It cannot. Good luck. It's not going to work. The only thing that love wants to do is extend to itself, right? People that, if you for a moment forgive, truly forgive the world, you can't contain yourself. It's, my cup is overflowing, right? I have to give this away. I have to love, right? Love cannot be contained. And the peace and the rest that comes from one true moment of forgiveness is beyond anything that this world can offer you. Far, far beyond. Many of us have experienced this. And if you haven't, give it a try. So thank you. Thank you for showing up. I love you. Right? Thank you for showing up. I'm glad you were here. If you haven't yet, practice the lesson in your Course in Miracles for today. And give me a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you real soon.